Capturing beautiful travel blog photos when solo, especially ones where you want to be in the shot, can feel really tricky, but it doesn't have to be. With the right tools and a few key strategies, you can take stunning photos that elevate your blog and stop people in their scroll. Hi, I'm Jessie, the founder of Jessie on a Journey and Travel Blog Prosperity. As a solo travel blogger, I've totally been there where I have that perfect shot in my mind. I'm trying to get it, but I'm struggling to even get myself in the frame, let alone get a great photo with great composition. So to help, I've brought on fellow content creator and photographer Alexandra Lauren of The Bucket List Mermaid. And yes, she does actually travel as a mermaid, which comes with its own unique challenges and has really forced her to come up with some creative techniques for capturing content when solo. And in this short but info-packed workshop, she'll be sharing her best solo travel photography tips for bloggers to help you confidently capture incredible shots no matter where you are or who you are or aren't with. Now, just two quick notes before we get started. If you like this idea of mini workshops, make sure to subscribe as I've got other guest experts as well as my own trainings lined up. Also, I've created a free solo travel photography cheat sheet to pair with this workshop. It's inside of my free travel blogger resource library, linked in the video description or via the QR code on your screen. It includes 75 plus resources, all meant to help you grow your traffic, email list, and income. Feel free to even pause this video to go grab those resources. You back? Then let's dive in.
Are you looking to take more professional style photos for your blog even when you are traveling solo? Then this is the video for you. My name is Alexandra. I am a full-time RVer, adventurer, travel photographer, and mermaid. Translation, I am a huge photography nerd and I am here to help you take better photos for your blog to increase your income. I'm going to be talking about tips and tricks, posing, gear I use for traveling solo, and more. So stay tuned and let's get started. Now, starting off strong, what exactly sets us apart from these standard touristy photos that you would see on everyone's personal Instagram? And I do think that is you are telling a story as a blogger. They say a picture is worth 1,000 words, and you need to make sure that that 1,000 words tells a story and makes someone want to read it. So I would encourage you to dig deep, find your inner artist and photographer, and really tell a story, because in travel there are a lot of stories to tell. Now next, let's talk about the widely debated, do we take it vertically or horizontally? Now, in addition to taking professional photographs for your blog, it is most likely that you are going to be taking pictures for social channels as well in order to promote it. Now, the first thing that I would have you ask yourself is, which photos are you drawn to? Personally, I like horizontal photographs because I like doing landscapes and I feel like I can get more of the landscape within a horizontal frame. I've met some bloggers who just put horizontal photography on their blog. I've also met people who do a healthy mix. Personally, I have both horizontal and vertical photos on my blog, so I think this is really up to you. As a consumer, I think that on a blog, the vertical photos do look a little better on a phone. However, I do think that the horizontal pictures look better on a desktop. You can't win there, but whatever feels better for you. Now, as far as social channels, the majority of social channels like Instagram and Pinterest do use the vertical format for photos. So I think I would A, look at your personal style as a photographer, and B, I would take a healthy mix of both. Perhaps even take both a horizontal and a vertical of the same shot if you do have time. Now let's quickly go through my setup as an adventure and travel photographer and what gear that I have, specifically the gear that I use to do it when I am not traveling with a buddy and I am solo. Now, the big debate is camera versus phone. Which one should you use? Now, in my personal experience, I think that there are scenarios for both cameras and phones. In a general speaking term, I feel like I take pictures with my phone and I'm like, oh, that's really cool. And then I take pictures with my camera and my jaw just drops to the floor. So generally, me personally, I do prefer a camera. However, these new phones are really getting very good. So if you only have a phone, do not panic, especially like their HDR capabilities. For all you out there, that's a high dynamic range. Now, obviously, a phone is going to be more user-friendly. Most bloggers do already have a phone, so it's going to be easy to use. To learn how to use a camera, especially a professional camera like this, it's going to take time to figure out how to use it, and it's not user-friendly at all. When I first started out, I was totally lost. However, However, I am a big believer that it is about the photographer, not the camera. Think of the photographer like an artist, and the camera is like a paintbrush, and then the canvas is the photograph. If you give a very bad or inexperienced artist a very expensive paintbrush, odds are the canvas and the painting aren't going to be that great. But if you give a great artist a mediocre paintbrush, I guarantee you he's still going to create a work of art. My point with this is that I would spend your time and energy becoming a better photographer instead of investing in all this crazy camera gear. Now, I digress with this point. If you give a really good artist a really good paintbrush, that canvas is going to be incredible. So as you grow, so can your camera gear. But in the meantime, just use what you have and the art will follow. Now, if we are talking about DSLRs and mirrorless cameras, there are several companies that everybody likes to debate and have heated arguments over, like if Canon is better than Nikon or Sony or Fuji. Personally, just pick one and just stick with it. I think they're all good in their own ways. Big, expensive cameras are going to be heavier, they're going to be harder to travel with, however, they are going to have perhaps better sensors, perhaps better dynamic range, better photographs, but the trade-off is they are huge, clunky, and heavy. Honestly, I've taken this little vlogging camera to so many locations and on so many adventures, and the photos that it produces absolutely blow my mind. Another thing that I like about these vlogging cameras is that they do have these flippable screens, so you can flip these around, and this is really good if you are setting up a camera on a tripod, you are solo, and you can see if you're in the frame. You can tell I've done this before because I've set up a camera that didn't have this, and I clicked that remote shutter, and I'm like not even in the frame. So these ones are cheaper, they're smaller, they have less capabilities, but as I said, I'm very impressed. I also tend to travel with a telephoto lens just in case because I do really like photographing wildlife and I don't want to get anywhere near to disturb them. If you are investing in camera gear, maybe consider investing in a telephoto lens, maybe a prime lens, or just use the standard kit for now. Another thing that I do have to say that I absolutely love is this Insta360 camera. This has absolutely revolutionized how I take solo pictures, especially when I'm a mermaid. So this basically, it extends very far, and you hold it behind you, in front of you, above you, and it basically looks like a drone because in post-production with a little bit of magic that I don't understand, it actually edits out this entire selfie stick. I'm going to show you an example of I hiked Half Dome by myself, and nobody wanted to do it with me because it was an 18-mile round trip hike, and then the chain sections are notoriously dangerous. So I ended up going up the chain section by myself with nothing but me in this Insta360 and just look at the footage that I got. And then from this footage, I can get multiple videos from the same piece of footage, and I can also get still shots from the videos. It's not as good as a phone or a camera. However, it's really gotten some cool angles and perspectives that I could never get with even another person taking the photo. Now, just some other little tiny gear that I do take with me on most of my adventures as a photographer. I always have to have backup batteries, especially for cameras. For phones, I really like the solar chargers because I've been on like treks before where I don't have access to electricity and I've just hung it off of my backpack and it's just charged, and then I charge my phone at night. So that's a good option for a phone. For cameras, always have extra batteries. I also have extra SD cards. The amount of times that I'm like editing photos on an SD card and then I go out on an adventure and I'm like, I don't have an SD card. It's a little bit more times than I care to admit because I'm embarrassed. So I always carry extras now. I also carry this little pen thing, and basically it has this little brush and I can use it to clean dust or just quickly clean the lens. Now, the other things that I do have is a remote shutter. This is honestly my favorite way to take solo pictures with a tripod, which we'll talk about in a sec. This just remote takes a photo for you, so you can get set up on whatever camera you are using. Just make sure that this works before because it is a little finicky and I've had it not work a few times. So I would test it out before you go traveling or on a photo shoot. If you are using an iPhone, I know that you can use this on a little watch. I've done that before where I've set up my shot and then taken the photo remotely with a watch. Now, other settings that you can do on a camera, you can do a timer, which is what most people do. For this, I don't know why this kind of stresses me me out because I have to do a timer and then I have to like run to my spot and then also like make it look good and tell a story, but then I'm like also kind of stressed out because the timer is going. So this is not my favorite. However, I've seen a lot of travelers use it, so if that's your jam, go for it. You can also use interval setting. This basically is a setting on your camera that will allow it to take a photo every 10 seconds or a minute or whatever. And I do like this better because then I can just try out different poses. My only thing is sometimes I do get confused. I'm like, wait, is it every 10 seconds? I'm like, okay, now it's taking the photo. So just be careful with that. And again, know how to use it on your camera before you go to your destination. Now, the best for last, a tripod. This is going to be your best friend when you are getting professional photographs for your blog or social content. You just set your tripod up, you set up the shot, you use that interval mode, or you get your remote center, or you set a timer, and then it takes the photo for you. Now, honestly, I've had strangers take photos for me a lot. Literally in all of them, like my head is cut off, the angle is weird. So to be quite blunt, I don't trust strangers at all to take my photographs because they're not professional photographers. And again, you want as much control as you can because you are the artist and you want to create these professional looking photos. So you want to have as much control as you can, and you are giving up all control if you just give your phone to a stranger. So I would recommend getting a tripod instead, setting up your shot, setting up all your settings, and then going and getting in your shot later with that remote shutter or whatever camera setting you want. Now, I am an adventure blogger, so this is huge, and I also have a tendency to go on very long, dangerous solo hikes, and flat out, I'm not carrying this. So that's why I also invested in a little tiny tripod, and I really like this one because you can use both your phone and your camera on this one. I can extend it, I can put it on a rock, and it does the same thing, and it's super portable, so I can put it in my hiking bag, and it's super light, so I don't notice that it's there. Obviously, it's less because you can't put it as high, so again, you're sacrificing some of that control, but I'm not carrying this on a 26-mile hike. No, thank you. Now let's talk about another topic that is quite important: how to pose and tips for posing. Now, as I said, we are trying to tell a story. We are trying to go past the standard tourist photo, and I am not sure why we are all conditioned to go to this beautiful destination while we are traveling or doing whatever, and we stand in front of the camera and we put both of our hands on our hips and we go, and that's cool, but I would encourage you to dig a little bit deeper and tell that story. Now, my favorite way to do this is candid shots. Whether you're photographing yourself or somebody else with their permission or wildlife, my favorite thing is just to pretend like the camera is not there and do what feels natural. Maybe it's laughing with a friend, maybe it's rummaging through your hiking bag, maybe it's walking in this beautiful European city, maybe it's people laughing or dancing, but I think that is so much more powerful and engages storytelling than somebody just posing like this in front of a major destination. Again, the tripods are going to help with this if you are doing this by yourself because you can just stick it anywhere and then just do your own thing. Maybe set it on that interval shooting, just see which ones turn out. That is a technique. Now, my second favorite thing to do posing is adding movement. Twirl, twist, dance, flip your hair, walk towards the photo, walk away from the photo. You can do that little Instagram influencer trick where you kind of just roll back and forth on your heels, so it gives the illusion that you are walking when you are just staying in one place. Jumping, doing a yoga pose, just adding some sort of movement to bring that photo to life is very, very powerful. Another thing that I love to do is introduce props, whether it's a coffee cup or a scarf or a hat. For me, my biggest prop is a tail, so that's really easy for me. But I think props can help the photo feel more natural, and it can also give you something to do that isn't so awkward. I mean, it's always the hands. Everyone's like, what do I do with the hands? Props can help you deal with your hands, and that's why I like it. Now, if you are totally stuck on this and you're like, oh my gosh, I have no clue what I'm doing, I am so awkward in photos, please do not panic. From here, I would actually recommend going to some sort of aesthetic platform like Pinterest or Instagram, looking up your destination and getting pose inspiration. You can be like, oh, that girl was like on a rock enjoying the view in a beautiful moment, or like this one's like jumping off, or this one is holding her hat, so just Things like that can help give you inspiration for how to pose. Now, it's important to not copy, just get inspiration and then put your little unique, authentic twist on it. Now, if you are really stuck after that, I would actually recommend booking a photographer to take some photographs of you. For example, Jessie runs a photo tour in NYC. I actually ended up getting a travel photo shoot in Hungary, and they're experts. They know how to pose you. They know what looks good, and they know what's gonna make you look good. So you could always go do a little photo shoot and then study it and say, ooh, I like it when my hip is placed this way. I like it when I'm holding this way. I like it when my face is faced this way. And you can use it as a learning experience and then apply it to other situations. However, I have to bring up a good point here and to make sure that however you are posing, however you are taking these pictures is authentically you and your brand. I did a really cool exercise where I came up with 3 adjectives that describe me and my brand. I believe it was like adventurous, fun, vibrant, and I tried to make all of my photographs align with those adjectives and with my general branding. My goal is I want somebody to see a photograph and say, oh my gosh, yeah, that's her. So make sure that when you are posing, when you are setting up these shots, that you are remaining authentic to you, authentic to your branding, so that when people do go through your blog, they go through your social content, it is all consistent and people recognize that it's you. Next is batch content and getting a lot of content when you are traveling, because if we are traveling, we might not have a lot of time to get these photographs, so we need to have a plan. And speaking of that, my number 1 tip is plan. One way that you can do this is that you can actually do a shot list. This is really good for like the type A bloggers. Think of it like keyword research for your photographs. You're going in there, you're coming up with a plan, you say, oh yeah, I want a wide shot of this and a closer shot of this, the affiliate product or the affiliate experience, and then a shot of me with a tripod. You know exactly what you need, you know exactly what's going in the blog post, you know exactly what is going on your social content channels, you are aligning it to your brand, you have a plan, and this is honestly the best way to not miss anything. As far as batch content creating, one thing that you might want to do as well is if you do get to a destination where you really like the shot, you really like the photo, and you have time, take multiple shots of the same thing. So for example, take a shot of the horizontal, take a shot vertically, and then also maybe get some B-roll, get some footage that you can do a voiceover for a reel later. So you can do multiple things with the same shot. And another hack that you can do is bring multiple outfits. You'd be so surprised at how much content you can get in the same location just by switching outfits. Even just a hat or a scarf and changing it out goes a long way. For me, sometimes I would bring different tails that I can do different things with at the same location. I actually ended up getting this like dressing robe thing that would make it easier for me to change tails in public. Oh, I get so many looks, but man, is it effective. And I get so much content and so many different types of content all just from the same thing. And my final tip is after you've organized and done your little clothes change and gotten all of your stuff, just put the camera away and just enjoy the moment and enjoy you being in that destination, because that is important too. Now this brings us to our next topic, which is editing, because this is also very, very important to stay consistent. As I said, my words are adventurous and fun and vibrant. So with my editing style, you know, I have very deep, rich colors and blues and greens, and the saturation is up a little bit, and there's a lot of light and fun and vibrance. This is going to be completely different from a blogger who is more classy and elegant and maybe uses more, you know, deep reds and maybe some black and white photos. But I think it's important to define your style early and then stay consistent. Now, a good way to do this is Lightroom presets. Now, personally, every photographer that I know primarily uses Lightroom to edit their photos. There are other apps that you can use where you can apply a filter, or you can apply a filter in Instagram or something like that. You can do that. However, I prefer Lightroom and Lightroom presets just because I can put it in there and I really have control over the photograph. Now, you can create your own presets and then you can save them, or you can buy presets and load them on. And I love Lightroom presets because it saves me so much time in the editing process. I literally just put a photograph in, I select the preset I want, I bring it down a little bit just so it's not as unnatural, and then I tweak a few things, I change a few things that need to on a photo to photo basis, and then I'm done. The result is consistent photos all across all of my social platforms and my blog. And a bonus tip, how does strong photography actually help you increase income, and why should you even care? I think it is no surprise that brands are way more inclined to work with bloggers and content creators if they have a very strong visual skill set to bring to the table. Photography is an extremely marketable skill in this space, and you can use it to your advantage in so many ways. For example, if you are working with brands, it is a good way to get them to work with you in the first place, and B, it's a really great upsell. In addition, it also helps with affiliate income. Personally, me as a consumer, not even as a blogger, I am more inclined to buy an activity, a product, whatever your affiliate is, if I see a very nice, stunning aesthetic visual beside it. If I see you tubing down some river in Bali, and I see a really good photograph of it, I'm gonna book it. And that is not even mentioning all of these services that you could provide as a photographer. It really is an art form, and it is so unique to you. So the sky is truly the limit on what you can do with photography. So that is all for the tips and tricks that I have for taking more professional photography. Thank you guys so much for watching. Happy adventuring and happy photographing.
All right, now I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you feel inspired and empowered to take amazing travel photos for your blog, even when solo. Don't forget to grab access to the free Travel Blogger resource library linked in the video description or via the QR code on your screen. There are a ton of resources in there on growing your community and increasing your blogging profits, including a solo travel photography cheat sheet based on today's workshop. And of course, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss future videos sharing these strategies for bloggers who want to turn their blogs into profitable full-time businesses. Happy blogging!